Hello everyone, this is Vera. So just a quick note before we actually get started into this one. I've just decided to change things up a bit on the channel and try some new things. And so basically all my old videos, they've now been moved into a playlist, a video archive. So if you still want to look at those, you can. And anyway, this video is just going to be a look into the history of my Rosie model. And basically if this goes down well, who knows, I might do some more of them. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the show. So, Rosie was a project that I'd wanted to do for a long while, and when Model Rail actually announced that they were doing the S100s in conjunction with Backman, I thought, fantastic, I'll finally be able to do that. And so the earliest picture I actually have is the model basically brand new from 2017, unmodified, on a layout with some coaches when I used to go to Model Club. And yeah, but basically she didn't stay in this condition for very long. And honestly, she was pretty bare bones at first. I didn't really change all that much. I gave her a face from a wooden railway Rosie, and I got some nameplates from Narrow Planet, and basically that was just how she stayed for a while. Nothing too big, nothing too grand. So in 2018 I decided she needs a little bit of sprucing up a bit. So, and I think this was around the kind of time where Rosie had a redesign. I'm not quite sure, I'll probably have to look that up later. But yeah, I saw she had a lamp on her CGI form, so I thought, you know what, that would probably look nice on there. So I had a spare body shell for an American logo lying around, so I just sort of chopped that off there, folded it down a bit, and it fit quite well. Now the actual American logo itself did have a working headlight, but in the sense that there was a bulb hidden inside the smoke box, and the light was just a clear tube to it, so I couldn't really carry that over to Rosie, unfortunately. But yeah, it looked nice. So yeah, nothing too big, but things did kick up a gear the next year, as you'll find out. Things did change quite a lot in 2019 for Rosie. So the first thing to change was the addition of a bell. Now this came from the same body shell as the lamp, and the thinking behind it was I'd seen an S100 preserved somewhere in America that had one on there. I thought, ooh, Rosie would look quite nice with that, but I didn't really like where it was on the preserved one. I think it was on the side of one of the tanks. So on Rosie I thought it'd look a lot better on sitting on the middle of the boiler. And I used some beige coloured thin thread to act as the rope, and that created a pretty good look. The next thing to change on the table was actually the livery, sort of. Initially what I wanted to do was a more realistic take on her redesigned livery, but what actually ended up happening, just because of the transfers I actually had, was I just used some plain cream letter transfers and some BR number transfers from Fox, and it kind of created a Northwestern wartime black, if you will. And I actually ended up using this for a base for later models, as you'll probably see if I do more videos. Some of the last things to change that year were the addition of Smith's 3-link couplings, which were quite frankly a sod. Just sort of a side note, sometimes when changing out couplings for 3 links, the original coupling can snap off and get stuck in the hole, and so you kind of have to end up drilling that out. That's basically what happened to Rosie there. Let's see, I also added some realistic coal. It was real Welsh coal. I got it from a place on eBay that unfortunately no longer does it, but it's lasted me a good few years, so I can't complain. And then she also ended up getting a new face, this time from a Take and Play, which honestly looked so much better than the wooden one, because it actually gives you that nice smoke box gap you like to see on some models. Later that same year I'd also completed Rebecca and Neville, and after doing that I thought, wouldn't it be nice if all of them had matching buffer beam numbers? So those were all added using Great Western style ones from Fox, and yeah, I just used the simple 2-digit numbers for like 37 for Rosie, 22 for Rebecca, you get the idea. And then I also added in, I don't know the proper name for it, but it's the front board that sits under the smoke box. Now generally I do not actually recommend fitting this, because when I tried it, it took me almost 2 hours to try and fit it. It is that difficult a piece to actually try and put in place. And when I did, it was just ended up covered in glue marks and didn't look all that great. So yeah, I don't really recommend that. In 2020, things rounded off pretty nicely for Rosie. The front board, I was deciding it looked a little bit barren and it needs a little something on there. So after looking at pictures of real S100s at Southampton, I found pictures of some where they had a southern root disc in the middle with a number on it. Off the top of my head, I don't actually remember what that means, but I like the look of it. And so what I ended up doing was I moved her buffer beam numbers to the centre of the board, and that looked really nice, so I decided to keep it there. Now later in that year, when the whole COVID thing happened, the Italian Railway did an auction to try obviously help keep themselves afloat during everything, and one of the things they auctioned was the chance to operate the Reverend's Fart while out. And in fact, myself and my friends, we actually ended up winning that, and I decided I wanted to take Rosie along to it and to get her spruced up for it. And so I sent her, along with Wilbert, away to Grimy Times to be weathered. And they honestly did an amazing job on them. They even kind enough to add a bit of colour to her safety valves and whistle, so they actually looked like proper brass, and it was just chef's kiss. And yeah, basically once they came home, the final things to be added were some crew figures from Hardy's Hobbies. And yeah, that is just basically Rosie as she stands today. I don't really plan to change anything else on her, and I'm honestly pretty happy. Well, that's about it for this one. Thank you very much for just listening to me ramble for a few minutes about this. If you liked it, let me know, and I'll look into doing some more of these. Just again, thank you very much for your time, and if this goes on, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!